principle I think that has summarized our church is this one principle, one truth that we live by, and this is always giving God only our best.
Yeah.
All right? It shows in our dressing, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so I have no doubt that all three of you live that, because I've seen you in action, Peng Hoe. I've seen you in action, Alex, not just in Ampang but in Central. Josh, I know that you are all out there in Ampang doing kids work, no matter how tough it is. So let's just start with that principle, and of course Pastor Sandra is here as well, and she can just chip in whenever she feels she needs to.
I guess one of the principles that I caught was, living by priority, not by pressure, and God comes first. It reminded me of 2018, when I was still studying, when I was doing my internship. At the time, I didn't have any allowance for that, so financials was quite tough. And that was also the year when the Saturday evening service started, and then there was ex-kids, so there was this call out for teachers. So at one point of when I was sending out the message, I'm thinking to myself, why ask for, continue to pray and all when you can be the answer yourself?
Wow.
But at that time, I myself was struggling. But I took that step of faith and actually served in Saturday service. So that itself was another extra cost, because that time I was still staying in Wangsa Maju.
Right.
So I have to travel actually twice, because one for planning meeting, then the next day for service. Yeah, so those were the times where, when you give your best, you're just giving your best, no matter what kind of baggage you have, you still give God your best, despite having financial difficulties, I still give my best.
I think it's about your availability, and when we needed help in Singapore, camp in Malacca, he and two others, I think, came alongside our Singapore church camp to help our children there. You don't even know who you're going to meet. You don't know if the children are going to learn Singaporean kids. You don't know if they will accept you, but they put out a really good program for the children. They prepared a very good program, and I think it was, again, just availability, the heart to say yes.
I think for me, similar to like how Josh said it, the days that I'm on for church and even extents, I completely just snooze everything out of the window and just focus on church. Because currently now there are two bands, Army of Three, the remnants of Army of Three, and Shamash, the new guys. They have been bugging me to come over to their place and to write music, and so I told them, on a weekday you can't touch me, because almost every other night I have got something on with church, and on Saturdays and Sundays is my off day, but Saturday is full on extents, because our day starts at 10 a.m. and by the time we are done it's about 7:30.
10 p.m.
So then, even when I get home, I'm just so tired. I just take a cold shower, have my dinner, and just knock off for the next day. So there's no Saturday night movies, there's no lepak sessions on these days. Even on Sunday, sometimes I get home after service around 2:30. But even then also, I'll just go back home for a good nap, and then I'll spend the evening hours to just take my parents out, do the weekly grocery shopping and everything. But it's just prioritizing God in my plans. So there are days where it takes a toll on the body, but then I just tell that I'm not going to compromise on putting God first. If I were to do anything out of that, it will be on my own strength and not taking into God's time.
I mean, I always tell people we got to live by priorities, but God is above your priorities. God is everything. And when God is everything, after that only you start setting your priorities. So you set it based on the fact that God is everything. All things else will somehow fall into place. Just applying this into, say, giving God, when everyone gives, everyone gets. There are days when I do find myself, you start thinking like from a student, you go into a young working adulthood, then you become you have a young family, and then instead of giving, you want to save, you want to amass, you want to keep. It's because at some point your priorities it gets a little bit warped. I think everyone goes through this. It's not something that we can avoid. But again, this is where consistency, and I'm grateful that giving God our best is something that we consistently not just say, not just teach, but we do. And I have to say, Pastor, you've always done it. I know there were days when it's tough, but no, you didn't just say it, you didn't just pray it, but you did it. And it's because of that consistency, that constant. Okay, die, so someone else is looking at me. Die, so I have to live this out. It becomes something that draws me back. It draws people back, finding that true north again. Because there will be days when everything seems to be priority, when everything seems to be important. You know, when we hold back, He blesses us. When we give freely and give until we have nothing, He has also blessed us. So we are then reminded that if that's the case, continue to give freely. Continue to give to those who are in need. Continue to be generous in our life.
Peng Hoe really does have a very generous heart. More than any other leader, that when we really need help, he does drop most things lah. He doesn't have to sometimes, or sometimes there's no one else who. He doesn't have a doubt lah. It's like, now my business, I don't have to do it, but he doesn't say that to me lah. Because most of the time it's like loads of funerals to do. So
it's not just only generous, it's also very pastoral. And of course, these two go hand in hand lah. You know, to be good pastorally, you have to be generous. And sometimes, in fact, not just sometimes, but most times, in being generous, it comes from a heart of really caring for people. So it's not just with money, it's with, I agree with Pastor what she's saying,
it's
his time. Because he very seldom says no. It's not so much because he doesn't have other things to do, but because he knows that people need this help. When it's time to do it, you step up to it, and God can say. Just like the bass at the back there. Who's going to play the bass? Okay, I play lah, you know, and you take the spirit.
You needed to get it. I mean, someone needs to do it, and we don't have anyone else. I mean, it's evident for Josh to, help us with Singapore or with evening service. He already has Ampang. I mean, just saying I can, so I'm even if I'm not available, I'll make myself available. So it could be a thing that runs, in the huddle. Others not here. Maybe
kind of like whatever it takes. Whatever the price, because it's high, but it's the right thing. Sometimes you can pay the high price for the wrong thing, right? But if it's the right thing, then it's a price worth paying. And sometimes at the end of the day, of course, we end up tired. We also know that the Lord refreshes. But I think I pick up from what Pastor Sandra is saying. It looks like this huddle is showing this evidence of a spirit that is like whatever it takes. If it's right, then it's right.